We're swapping this 07K inline-5 Volkswagen engine into our Porsche 944 drift car that's going to be bodied as a carbon GHIA. And yes, we saw all of your comments. We're cutting the roll bar out and redoing the cage so we can make the roof fit correctly. However, we're not doing that right now. We'll talk more about that later on in the video. First, we need to get the engine installed in the engine bay so we can see what we're working with. So our first step is to take this 07K engine, get it up on the stand, and prep to go into the car with some brand new parts from Boost Brothers. Now that the engine is on the stand, there is a lot to do. Boost Brothers sent over a plethora of parts, and not much is staying on to this engine. We're gonna pull off the valve cover, we're gonna pull off the intake, we're gonna pull off a bunch of accessory things, we're gonna pull off the oil pan, replace that. Tony's currently working on lubricating the bolts for the exhaust to pull the header off as well.
With the magic juice.
What is that, Tony?
It's isopropyl alcohol and ATF.
That's the magic sauce right there. Nothing has worked faster than that for me too. Highly recommend, but don't drink it, even though it looks pretty delicious. So yeah, there's a lot to do, and we're gonna take this apart piece by piece and replace parts, and hopefully the bolts don't break on us in this engine. It's a 2013 engine, so it shouldn't be too bad, but I'm also thinking right now,
it's only 12 years old.
Wow. Now I feel old. When were you born, Tony?
1972.
You must feel real old right now.
Nope, I stopped feeling about 10 years back.
You lost the feeling?
Yeah, I lost feeling.
Is that what happens when you get old?
Yep, you lose feeling, so you can't feel old anymore.
One thing we don't have yet is the harness. We need to get a Haltech harness bought and made for this along with an ECU. That's on the buy list because it's expensive, and we're not there yet. We're just trying to get the engine bolted in.
Yeah, we're a little ways from wiring.
Just a little. Also, before you run to the comments and wonder, we will eventually turbo this engine. Goal right now is just getting things mocked up, bolted in. We'll get it running NA unless a turbo falls in our lap and a manifold falls in our lap. Those noises in the background of Tony doing that are probably great on the mic right now.
Here, let me get a little closer.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Anyway, so yes, we will be turboing this engine. The plan is to get a safe, low 300 horsepower build for drifting, but that's later.
All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is take all of this stuff off of the back. A bunch of it is evap and crankcase breather stuff that we won't need for a race car, and the rest we'll switch out for shiny billet parts.
This beautiful piece of billet that was definitely like 5-axis milled. It's so beautiful. Pretty sure it replaces the plastic piece right here that's on the back of the head. It's like a coolant junction of some sort. It also looks like a sensor's supposed to go here that needs to be transferred from here. So we're going to pop that one out and pop this sucker in. Yeah, I don't have instructions per se that are like step by step for how to do the swap. So we're kind of figuring it out as we go. It seems pretty straightforward. Also to note, some of these parts are used that they sent to us because of the quick turnaround. They actually pulled them off their own project cars. So if you buy their kit, don't worry, you're gonna get brand new parts, not the used ones. Nice. This is a bracket that holds the O2 sensor wire above the header so it doesn't melt. Everything I pull off the engine, I'm gonna keep handy just in case, but I'm pretty sure we do not need this line. There we go. Get these two nuts off now. All right, see if any fluid comes out. Oh, shoot. This freaking Volkswagen, everything layered on top of each other. So this junction here is covered by this tube, which shares the same bolt, so it's sandwiched in there. This tube runs back to here, and there's a bolt here, which I removed. But then it runs underneath the intake, the whole way around. It's right here. It runs the whole way around, back up in here somewhere. Blah, freaking Volkswagen. So that means I might need to take the intake off before I can get that off. So I might be jumping to that now. Hose some of this off before I pull it off too. Get it a little cleaner. You sure you want to take that off?
Well, we're taking the intake manifold off, so we're just going to have to relocate it to something we're not taking off.
But it's the reminder that there's no oil in this engine.
Right, yes, which is why I'm relocating it and not throwing it away.
Do you think that we...
I don't think that we would, but what's the harm in leaving it on?
One thing that is nice is Chuck's managed to not cut any of the harness, which is something that they tout in their website and everything they do. So unlike the usual salvage yard that hacks and slashes and you get what you get, they put a lot of care into this thing. And the engine's very clean too. They pressure washed it, I believe, before they gave it to us as well. So thanks, Chuck's, for giving us this engine for the project. Check them out.
Hi, I'm Jordan from Chuck's Auto Parts Solutions. We're a family-owned and operated automotive recycler. We've been open since 1972. We supply all of the area of Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware with all sorts of recycled parts. One of our biggest sells is the hands-free delivery, clean parts, and accurate descriptions. We describe our parts to the best of our ability so you know what to expect from used parts. If you're looking for more resources to find parts, find out in the description below on our website or give us a call and we'll see what we can do for you.
So I'm gonna pull off this bracket here that holds the intake up. I'm gonna pull the oil filter housing off. I'm gonna pull whatever this is off. I don't know what it does, but I don't think we need it.
It's probably a thermostat in there.
It's funny you have to work on an engine that neither of us know anything about. You can get it. You can get it. There it is. Yeah! That is some rigging right there.
That bolt was so loose that I think I broke it loose twisting the extension with my fingers.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of the intake bolts on this intake are very loose. The ones in the middle, they're a little tighter, but the ones in the ends, it's like, I don't know if the plastic shrunk over time or something, but they have like inserts in them though, so it shouldn't have shrunk. Whatever, it's coming off.
Yep.
Should be the last bolt holding this thing in. There's so many Volkswagen fans watching this video, and they're so annoyed at decisions we're making because there's probably easier solutions. But like we were saying earlier, this is our first one. This is our first 07K ever. That's one way to do it. Hey, intake is free. The harness is free too. Good job, Tony.
Yeah, thanks.
He was actually doing something in the background. I didn't think he was. I thought he was just kind of milling around and poking at stuff. All right, let's plug up these holes so we don't get any more junk in them. Or not more, any junk period. We didn't get any junk in it yet. Remember kids, always plug your orifices. That he who can pull the dipstick from the 07K be king of Germany.
I'm now the king of Germany. That's just one more orifice we have to plug now.
Ah, so many orifices.
There's a lot of rust sitting at the top of it. I don't like that.
Now after all that, I have access to the line that I was trying to get to earlier. It goes to the thermostat housing, which this thermostat housing is the 07K thermostat housing, obviously. It's gonna get replaced with 18T thermostat housing. I'm assuming because it's spacing for the swap. We don't have that yet, so we're gonna cap it. But for now, I'm gonna get this line out. All that to get the stupid elbow off. But before I jump back onto the backside here, we're gonna continue with the oil filter housing. We're gonna rip that off. And Tony's also working on getting off the outside of the thermostat, which is currently in our way. I was gonna pull this out, but it's actually kind of wedged in and it kind of seals it up. So we're just gonna leave it there. Yeah, hardware is a little bit more rusted than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, big thing with triple square and Allen, you want to make sure they're seated all the way before you round them out and cause yourself a whole bunch of grief.
Loose. Now it should pop right off. Not too bad. Not too bad.
That's a smaller mess that you make.
I hate when there's so many orifices open and they're oiling, ports, and it's dirty and I want to clean it, but I don't want to get it inside the port. But if I put the housing on, I can't get to them.
Conundrum.
One thing I really like about this kit is that it comes with a lot of brand new hardware. Hardware, gaskets, pretty much everything you need. Not everything you need, but pretty much everything you need. So the oil filter housing here, this beautiful piece of billet, it has oil and coolant passages through it. So what we just pulled off, this is gonna replace all that functionality. And also the engine mount shares hardware. This will go this way, like so, it looks like. Yeah, so these bolts are for the housing itself. There's 2 other bolts, I guess, for the engine mount. And this goes over it like that. I believe this is the bolt for that. Should be pretty good. All right, so this side of the engine is ready to go in. Now we can finally get the stupid coolant neck off and also pull the vacuum pump off and replace that. You can do the honors, Tony.
Thanks.
You can take the last nut off the stupid coolant neck I've been chasing since the beginning of the video.
I don't know why you said this was so hard. I mean...
I just can't imagine doing this in the car.
Right.
Like,
no.
in a Jetta.
I mean, it's kind of like a Porsche thing. You just take the engine out whenever you want to do anything.
Yeah.
We're just going to dry fit a lot of these parts for now. We know the engine's coming back out, and our primary goal right now is to get this engine in so we can see what we have to work around to get our seating position right and our roll bar right.
Never mind the corrosion behind the brand new part.
It's not staying there.
It's kind of nice knowing though that at the end we're gonna have nice billet parts replacing plastic junk. I hate freaking Volkswagen, their use of plastic coolant parts.
Unfortunately, it's not just Volkswagen.
Oh, I know,
yeah,
I know.
It's
but
everybody, and you know, I get the reasoning behind it, but yeah, it doesn't age well.
Nope, they can't all be Tony.
That's right. All right, another dry fit. No chance we're gonna have a whole mess of leaks on this for stuff that we forgot. I mean, the nice thing is we know everything that we put on it because it's shiny.
Yeah, exactly. If it's shiny, we didn't seal it. We'll be fine. There are multiple reasons why we're dry fitting, like Tony mentioned. The other one is I do kind of want to powder coat a bunch of parts as well, so they're gonna come back off anyway. So I'm not gonna waste gaskets right now because we're not running the engine for a little while. Oh, I just realized something.
What's that?
I can powder coat it all chameleon and you can't stop me because it's my car. What color should I powder coat this stuff, guys? Should it be chameleon? So now we are over on the exhaust side of the engine. I'm going to pull off this line. It's some vacuum emissions related thing. I don't know if it matters. I'm gonna yank it off for now. And I'm also gonna pull off this exhaust manifold because we're probably not gonna use that one. Number one, I don't think it even fits if I put it in the car. It might, I don't know. But either way, we're gonna turbo the car most likely, so yeah. Let's see how well the juice worked on these bolts. Everything is very much loose. Little pro tip for you young mechanics out there that don't know. It's always a good idea before going on anything with an impact to take the time to crack it loose by hand first with a wrench or ratchet, just in case. It just kinda is a safety measure to make sure that you're not gonna destroy threads by accident. Highly recommend. That looks like the stud's coming with it. Looks like we got a stud. Now I can use the gat. Victory! Smells nice. So this side just gets the other engine mount, I believe. It looks like I need to take off this shield. There's a heat shield here that has the knock sensor behind it, which we're gonna want, I think, when we turbo the car. So I'm just gonna take this one bolt out so I can slide this up underneath the shield, keep the shield attached, and then we'll have an engine mount. Slide this up underneath like that. Bippity boppity boo. All right, I changed my mind. I'm actually gonna pull this off. And the reasoning is these holes that we're using, so these 3 holes were like originally in the block, but are not actually used. So they've been open to the elements for 80,000 miles. So I'm gonna run a chaser through them. Ah, it's so much better. Beautiful. Holes tapped, now I'm gonna put the mount on. Ooh, that's so much better. It just threads right in.
That's the way fasteners should work.
Yep. Now stick with me here, guys. This video has been paid for and is sponsored by Helix. When they reached out about working together in a partnership, I was kind of excited when I found out that they made mattresses. You see, my wife and I have had the same mattress for like 7 years, and it was time to replace that. Now, because of my job, I am constantly crawling around in the shop. I have long hours sitting at a desk editing. I am doing every little thing possible to make sure that I have lots of back pain. And of course, at the end of the day, when you lay down in bed at night, your mattress is very important because that's gonna set you up for success for the next day in alleviating your back pain and relaxing your whole body. I've had my Helix mattress for over 3 months now, and I have to say that my sleep has dramatically improved, and so has my back pain. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, bro, this is an ad. You're gonna say whatever they tell you to say to make them look good. I'm promising you, they gave me no script. They didn't tell me what to do other than saying, tell them what you think about the product, Ryan. So here we are. I love my Helix mattress, and I probably won't go back to any other brands after this one. And again, I need to stress this because I have a lot of back problems. My back problems have significantly reduced. If you're interested in getting your own Helix mattress, we have an exclusive deal just for you guys. You can get an entire 27% off site-wide through the link in our video description or by using the QR code on screen. Trust me, you do not want to sleep on this deal. Get it? Get it? Because I said sleep and it's a mattress. That's pretty funny. I did it funny. So big thanks to Helix for not only sponsoring this video, but sponsoring previous videos and sponsoring my sleep. Many of you often ask how you can support our channel, and there's many ways to do it, and one of them is by supporting our partners because they help us create bigger, better videos for you guys and keep us rolling. Speaking of keeping rolling, I'm gonna get back to work. All that we have to do next is get the valve cover replaced. Boost Brothers Garage has this sick low profile aluminum valve cover. So we're going to pop that sucker on. So we're gonna pull the coils out, get the valve cover on, and then I think we're about ready.
They make a special tool to remove these coils so you don't break them, because if you don't use this, they're prone to break. And we'll see whether or not they're prone to break with using it on an engine that's trying to lift up as I lift the coil out.
I'll lean on it for you. Nice.
Yeah. So you can see why they might break trying to take them out.
I think it's all of them. Let's try to pop the sucker off. I love that smell. That smell of like fuel and oil mixture, you know what I'm talking about? When you crack open something that hasn't been opened on an engine in a long time.
Yep.
That should be a candle, man. I love that smell. Everyone else hates that smell, but I love that smell. Camshafts look pretty good, actually. And the engine's not full of gunk. It looks like someone actually like maintained this engine.
It's a nice golden color instead of black.
That's a very, very good sign. Can't wait to blow it up at the track. Again, dry fit, no seal. It's okay. It'll be fine.
Fast forward.
I'm trying to be gentle with it. I just dropped it. I'm gonna put a couple bolts in just so it doesn't fall off.
This just goes against every rule I ever made for myself.
The shop rule is always, if it's on the car, it's torqued down. I'm torquing it down, kinda.
Yeah, you're not.
With my fingertips.
Not torqued to spec.
Well, it's to my spec.
The Guten tight spec?
It's not even that.
No,
it's more like the not gonna slide off spec. Don't turn the car upside down, it might fall out spec. So this is like a breather plate that goes on top of the valve cover, which is why we don't need other breather things. And there's like this steel wool of sorts is supposed to go inside here, I believe, to catch oil, you know, from spurting out. Again, I'm just gonna kind of set this on, because that's all we're doing right now.
Catches all the mist and then returns it back to, from whence it came.
Did you ever play Myst before, the game?
No, I never even heard of
Oh,
it.
you would like that game. I know you guys who are watching that know that game. No, Tony would like that game. One thing I am curious about is these are the coils for the 07K. The swap kit calls for 18T coils because they're lower profile. I don't know if that means the length of the shaft here or the top of it's shorter. I really don't think we're gonna have clearance issues because the hood of the carbon GHIA is like bulged a lot and the cowl's a lot higher than 944. But I'm really curious if I plop this in, if it actually will fit. Yes, I see what it. So I think it actually will work. I mean, in theory, I don't know why it wouldn't work, but it doesn't seat the whole way.
Those coils were plenty tight coming out, I know that.
Yeah, it doesn't seat the whole way, because like this is supposed to set down that channel, and it does not. So we probably will need 18T coils, which is another thing to buy.
But it might not need them to run.
You're speaking my language.
So we've got our 07K engine ready to go back in. We're gonna put the intake manifold on after it's sitting in the car. But before we can, there's one more thing we have to do. Our solid mounts that were in here for the 944 engine have to come out so we can put our adapter kit mounts in. The biggest problem is the stud on the bottom of this sits over top of the control arm and there's very limited access and the car's sitting on the ground.
And I refuse to put it in a lift, so. It's gonna take, it's like a 45 to an hour process to get this car to the other shop, blah, blah. I can keep talking about this, but there's no point, so.
Yep, all right, no, I'm willing to give it a try.
Good, because I don't feel like doing it. Yeah, the wrench is between the control arm and the mount. That's funny.
Well, it did break loose.
That's good.
So 1/16 of a turn at a time, we might be able to get there. They weren't too bad to get out. Actually, the worst part was the sway bar brackets on the control arms, but fortunately, because they've been modified, they were removable. Got them out of the way, and we're ready to go.
All right, we said we were ready. We're actually not. We remember that we got to replace the oil pan to fit around the cross member on the car, and we realized that the stand attaches to the end of the oil pan, which means we need to get the hoist back in here to get the engine up in the air, let it dangle, and then replace the pan.
And we had to put it on the hoist anyway to get it in the
so,
car.
It's not like we're that messed up. It's gonna rain oil here shortly. They said the oil was drained.
we trust them.
Yeah, we didn't pop in the drain plug. We're gonna see what happens here.
I was gonna grab, one of Ryan's pry bars here.
Yep, screwdrivers are pry bars. If not a pry bar, then why pry bar shaped? You know what I mean? Let's see how much oil comes out. Whoa! I mean, it was definitely drained.
And then, they always drain
There's always
more into
oil.
the pan
Yeah,
later.
there's always more left over.
I don't think I spilled a drop, Ryan. Oh, wait.
Does that count?
No, that doesn't count.
Okay. Good job, Tony.
Thanks. There.
It's funny because you have to take off this outer pan to then get to the hardware to get the rest of the pan off in there. And they say Porsche's annoying to work on. That's not what he said, it's trying to anyway.
I wonder if there'd be somewhere you could find, if there'd be like a resource where you could find a video that showed how to do things.
Oh, yeah. I know it exists. I'm stubborn and I want to do it myself. I want to figure it out. That's the fun of all this, right? I probably should look it up quick.
Yeah.
I got it over myself and I Googled it. We need to remove this plate right here. The crank pulley and the seal, there's like a seal on this plate for the crank pulley. It all needs to come off. And then we can drop the upper pan. Also, I'm not 100% sure, but I am sure. I at least need to remove the pickup right here as well. It probably doesn't show up great in the camera, but there's an oil pickup there that needs to come off as well. Surprised that actually just like fell off.
That was kind of nice. Is that my screwdriver?
Uh-huh.
My Snap-on screwdriver?
Uh-huh. I'm just doing it light. If you're a Snap-on rep, close your eyes. There you go. Boop. We figured it out.
Yeah.
We missed 2 bolts.
Yeah, hold on. That's the wrong socket.
So, there you go. Feels like it's free now. Hey, that was a pain. So we got the pan off. This is the timing cover, which is actually in the back side of the engine, because all the timing stuff's on the back side of the engine in this engine. And on the vertical piece of this cover, there's RTV to seal it to the like pan section there. And then there's the lower pan as well. So when we put the new pan on, it's gonna be probably impossible to put RTV on here and there and just kind of shmoo it on and have it seal correctly, which means we're gonna have to take the timing cover off when we put it back together again, which means it also goes up into here. There's just, so many layers that overlap.
Welcome to German engineering.
So all that being said, another reason why we are dry fitting now is because I do want to repaint the engine block and other pieces as well as powder coating the new pieces. So that's one more reason to tear more things down later to paint. But now we can throw the pan on, so we're gonna do that.
So this is the new oil pan from Boost Brothers. It has a modified upper pan and a completely fabricated lower pan. And you can see it's got the little doors in the pickup. And that will ensure that we've always got oil at the pickup. So we're gonna remove the pickup and hopefully install the upper pan in our patented temporary fashion. I think this is the last piece of the puzzle.
For real this time.
For real, yeah. There we go.
It's the bell housing adapter to the torque tube. And it'll also hold the starter once we get a starter. Boost Brothers supplies a nice spreadsheet of all the parts that you need to buy additionally from the swap kit. The swap kit has like, I don't know, like 85% of what you need. So the rest of what you need are like OEM parts you can get from like a Rock Auto or whatever for like a starter. You need like a 1.8T thermostat. You need some elbows and other little odds and ends that are just from different cars. We still have to do that yet, but we didn't need that for right now, so we're kind of holding off a little bit till, you know, we feel like spending the money. For those who do not know, this is the torque tube, and it's a lot like a drive shaft, but it's enclosed in a hunk of steel, but in this case it's actually aluminum because it's a custom one, so it's lightweight. The reason that the 944 is a torque tube instead of a drive shaft is because the transmission's in the back of the car, and you need to have a physical connection that is solid between the transmission and the engine, so torque tube. Hey, Tony, I just realized, how are we gonna connect these bolts with the car sitting on the ground? I do not want to lift it.
I have an idea. You said already we want to get rid of this HVAC ductwork that
it is literally
here.
HVAC ductwork.
We're pretty close. If we get this out of here, I think we can actually install the torque tube bolts from the cockpit. So.
Oh yeah, you can like see into the cabin from here, and it's even with the HVAC in there.
Yep.
That's definitely doable. Let's do that. I also, like I said, I really want to pull all this out, including this, because we're going to actually relocate. This is where the fuel tank is. So we're going to relocate this to the back so we can have a passenger seat. And there's more on that momentarily.
Just for more fun.
Yeah. Hey! Sick.
I'm not sure how much they're biting. There we go. Uh-oh. Can you weld that back together for me, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm gonna weld it right into the trash. Hey!
There it is.
So yeah, this is the torque tube. It's an aluminum custom one to be extra lightweight. And then you got our shift rods that run back to the transmission behind the wall there. So now, looks like we got room to reach the bolts. That's pretty funny, honestly. Engine mounts going in.
So normally with a 944, when you take the engine in and out, you take the cross member off of the bottom and take the engine out that way. We thought we could escape that since the oil pan is slightly different and there's no front on this car, but we're running into the same issue you always do. We have to clear that big long drive shaft, and our oil pan has to clear this cross member, and we just don't have enough room.
Yeah, the angle's just off. You can't just go in. So we're gonna pull the sump plate off of the
That
pan.
we only dry fit temporarily. It's paying off.
Yeah, yep. So we're gonna pull all the 4 bolts off the bottom of the pan here just to get rid of the extendo portion, and then we should be able to fit over the cross member. Then we'll just bolt it back on. Yeah, this is what Tony just said. This is where the whole temporary thing's paying off, because otherwise we have to do a lot more work to get the engine in. All we want to do is know, will the body fit around the engine, and what we need to, you know, drive this car. That's better.
Now we got room.
It's always something. Steering shaft out of the way.
That's been out before.
The mount on this side has to go behind the steering shaft, but to snake it behind and also get it on the input shaft of the torque tube on the back there is physically impossible. So we just dropped the steering rack. Now we should be good.
We keep saying that. Now we should be good.
This is the genuine car building experience, Tony. Everybody experiences this.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we know better. We just thought we could shortcut some things because things are different than
because we don't
normal
actually know better.
944. Right, we don't know better.
There it is, baby. That was a little bit of a wrestle. And it's all entirely our fault because we're not in the lift and don't have the stuff
And doing
right
it
now.
the way it's supposed to be done. Right.
Yeah, that's how we do it here.
No, it isn't.
That's how I do it here. The engine is bolted in. We ran into a couple issues though, and it's not the Boost Brothers' fault at all, because we have a race-prepped 944, which means nothing is untouched.
We have a custom-made aluminum torque tube and custom transmission mounts, which we think may have shifted the engine just slightly, and we've got just a tiny bit of contact between the oil pan and the cross member. Once we can get underneath it and get access to it, I think just a little bit of grinding will take care of that, and we can leave all our race stuff right where it is.
Yeah, so right now, the oil pan itself, like that lower shroud being pulled off just to get it to go in, it's just like Cleco clamped up so that it's not an open orifice to pick up dust in the shop. But we'll fix that, no worries. So now what we need to do is we need to put the intake on, and by put it on, I mean obviously dry fit it. There's only one issue. The accessory bracket here needs to be notched. This top part needs to be lopped off to fit the intake. So we're gonna cut that off and then put on this bad boy. All right, brackets off. Let's put the intake on. Intake is on. Looks like everything fits very nicely. In fact, there's a lot of room for activities in there. And by activities, I mean spoolie boy, little turbo.
Yeah, we got room for that. I'm kind of amazed it just fits. I mean, it fits at least as well as the 4-cylinder that was in there.
I think it fits better,
Yeah.
honestly. Obviously, we need an exhaust header for this side, which will depend on if you go turbo or supercharger, which I'm kind of like considering a supercharger. I saw a company's working on an 07K supercharger kit for the 944. I'm also kind of open to fabricating our own kit too. So
Yep.
let us know what you guys think. Should we supercharge this or should we turbo this?
I like turbos.
I like both. What if you
Dual charge.
That's twin charge.
But what if they're not identical?
You know, that makes the whole twin charge thing no longer... Wow, you just ruined everything. All right, next step is to put the body over the engine and make sure that it actually clears the hood of the GHIA, which I'm pretty sure it will.
I think we'll have lots of room. I don't think I'm biased. I think that 944 engine bay with that 07K engine under the hood of the GHIA looks perfect. It looks just right. Like it looks like it should be that way. All except for this little bit lining up here.
Yeah.
But if you ignore this gap right here, like that looks like it should just be that way.
There's so much room for activities too. And additionally, we're gonna do a radiator in the back of the car to have even more room up here, which means intercooler probably will go somewhere in here in some orientation. I mean, there's a ton of room forward of this. Maybe I could even do like a flat intercooler, so it's up higher off the ground for when we go off the track and probably wreck this thing, and maybe you can keep driving it that day. I'm not sure yet, but the other question is, will it fit underneath the hood? And I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Looks like it fits to me.
Sure does.
Yeah, that's gonna work.
Plenty of room.
I'm gonna take the hood back off and look at the engine some more. Tony, will you help me out here?
You didn't have to say it twice.
I know you also want that too.
Yep.
I mean, just look at that thing. It's so cool. So we have confirmed that the GHIA body does in fact fit very well in this chassis, and the engine fits underneath. Now, when I say that, some of you are thinking it does not fit well. That roll bar is a problem. It is a problem. And when we released the previous GHIA video and we were like, we're not gonna do the roll bar, I don't wanna do the roll bar. And by we, I mean me, because Tony does want to do the roll bar. We're gonna do the roll bar. So here's the couple things about the roll bar. And we had released a video about this on Patreon. So if you're a Patreon member, you already know what I'm about to say. But in this chassis, we have a lot going on. And the roof line right now, it does not work because this roof is sitting on top of the roll bar. It's physically impossible to work. If you drop the roof down, the roll bar looks stupid. The problem is not so much about the roll bar work, but the fact about making it safe. If we were to lower the roll bar the way it is, there would not be enough room for my head with a helmet to have safe rollover protection, which then means, okay, so what do? We have to lower the head height. So options are we lower the seat, which the seat's currently sitting on the floor of the car, and the car is very low, which it can still happen a little. We could rake the seat back, which again lowers the head height. But then that gives us another problem, which is the cowl height. This cowl is a solid 4 inches above the cowl of the 944. Front visibility is not great. But then also, this is a drift car. You're not gonna be driving straight. And not only that, like most race cars, they are laid back, they're moved, they move their drive position significantly and don't have great front end visibility. It's not a daily driver, so we might have to do a little bit of that. The other thing that we have to do though, to make this work, is we have to bring the head forward, because if the head's here, if my head's here, it's like past how like the roof slopes down. If we bring my head forward a little bit, there's a little bit more room for roll bar. So if we made a roll bar maybe here instead, that gives us a solid, I don't know, 1.5 inches more of clearance, if not more than that. So to do that, that means that we have to bring the steering wheel forward, we have to bring the pedals forward, the shifter will probably have to be modified a little bit. It makes this a much more involved project than we initially planned, but it seems like you guys are on board for that. You want this car to be built correctly, and so do I. We just weren't sure if you guys were game for another large project. This was intended to be a quick turnaround project, but let's build it right.
So next we got to shift our driver position along with all the controls, steering, pedals, all that. And then we can build our new cage. while we continue to source the parts we need to make this engine run. Thanks for hanging in the shop with us.